in Module 3, Lesson 3 and 4, we're going to use R in order to add unlike fractions. Unlike fractions are fractions that have different denominators. Now, in class, what we did is we have two fractions, 1/4 and 1/3. We're going to draw two models. I'm going to have one for the fourth and one for the third. Now, I like writing the fractions above them, 1/3, so I can keep track. Now, the fourth, I'm going to split it into fourths, and I'm going to shade 1 out of 4. The thirds, I'm going to split it in thirds, but I'm going to do this in horizontally, the opposite I did the other fraction. Now, I'm going to split this one up into thirds. Now, we're going to combine them. So what I mean by combine them, this is 1/4. I'm going to take the thirds over here, and I'm going to combine it right into the first model. Now my thirds, I'm going to split it vertically by fourths like I did my first model. And now this is giving me an equivalent fraction. And if we count them up, we can see we have 3 out of 12, plus on the second one we have 4 out of 12. And that gives us 7/12. Now, if you see the 1/4 up here, I multiplied it by 3, and I did that by cut it into the thirds. So it'll be 3 over 3, which that's how we end up with 3/12. The thirds, we actually cut it up, we multiplied it by 4, by cut it into 4 sections, and we end up with 4/12. On B, once again, we're going to draw our models. And the first one is quarters, so I'm going to split it into quarters, and I'm shading in 1 out of 4. The second one is fifths, but I'm going to go vertically with it. Now I have fifths, and it says 1/5, so I'm going to shade 1 out of 5. Now my fourths, I'm going to split it by fifths, and my fifths over here, I'm going to split it by fourths vertically. We've basically combined the two fractions to get equivalent fractions. So now we can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 20, plus 4 out of 20, which gives us 9/20. On C, first one we're going to split up into quarters. Second one we're going to split up into 6. Notice I'm not going to try to put another one in there. I'm going to draw another one after it. Now I'm doing 1/6. Now I'm going to be splitting this one into 6. And the 1/6 I'm going to split into fourths. And we can see I end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6/24. Over here I have 4/24. 6/24 by 4/24 gives us 10/24. Now, it actually said to simplify your answer if possible. Up to this point, we haven't had anything that we can simplify. Now, the way I like to show is I know 10 and 24 are both multiples of 2. So I'd go 2 times 5 for 10, and I'd go 2 times 12 for 24. If I take out the common factors, I end up with 5/12. That would be in simplest terms. Our last one, we have 1/5 and 1/9. So I'm going to split this one into fifths, and I'm going to add another one over here, and I'm going to shade into 1/5, Second one, I'm going ninths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'm going to put another one up here for 9. Notice I didn't try to jam them all in there because it makes it very difficult. And there's my 1/9. Now, my fifths, I'm going to cut up into ninths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to have to add 2 here. And this one I'm going to split into fifths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see that the larger the denominator gets, the harder this strategy is. So we can see here now we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we end up with 9. And we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it'll be 9 45ths. Over here we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 45ths. We add them together, we're going to end up with 14 45ths. Now the way to see if you can simplify these, if you start off, say, are they both divisible by 2? No, 45 is not divisible by 2 because it's an odd number. Are they divisible by 3? Well, 14 is not divisible by 3. Are they divisible by 4? Well, 14 is not divisible by 4. Is 14 divisible by 5? That's a no. 6? No. How about 7? 7 to 7 is 14. That works. Now we know 7 times 5 is 45. So I can go 2 times 7 and 5 times 7 and take out the common factors, and we can see it was simplified down to 2/5. Our last one, 3/5 against 3/7, and I'm going to have to draw this one pretty big because it's 7s. So we're going into fifths. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7ths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now it's 3/5, so I'm going to color in 3 out of the 5 here. And over here I've got 3/7, so I'm going to color in 3 out of the 7. Now when I combine them, I'm going to have to split this one in the fifths. I'm going to split into 7ths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And this one I'm going to split into fifths. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now when I count them up, I can say 1, 2, 3 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this, we know this, that the denominator here is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 7 times 5 is 40. Excuse me, 35. And we have a total of 1, 2, 3 by 7 be 21 35ths. Plus over here we've got 3 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's going to be 15 35ths. We add them together, we end up with 36 35ths. 3 by 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, excuse me. That's only 15. That is 15. That's 3 by 7 is 21. 36 35ths. Which we know 35th over 3/5 equals 1 plus 1 35th. So that would be equal to 1 and 1 35th. Draw a picture, write a number sentence that proves the answer. Simplify your answer if possible. Rajesh jogged 3/4 mile and then walked 1/6 mile to go down. How far did he travel? Well, if we take our model and we're going to split it into quarters, it says that he jogged 3/4. Then it says he walked 1/6. Now we're going to split the quarters into 6. And we're going to split our 6 into quarters. Now we can see this one is 1, 2, 3, 4 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we know our denominator is 24. And there's 3 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 18 24ths. Plus over here we have 4 24ths, which equals 22 24ths. Now I like to simplify them by going 2 times 11 over 2 times 12, which equals 24. Take out the commons, and I end up with 11/12. Number 4, Sam read 2/5 of her book over the weekend, 1/6 of the book on Monday. What fraction of the book was he read? What fraction of the book is left? Okay, so start off, we're going to draw our models. And we know this is 2/5 and this is 1/6. So we're going to split this up into fifths. And we're shading in 2/5. Over here we're splitting it up into 6. And we're shading in 1/6. Now we're going to combine them, so we know we're going to cut our 2/5 into 6. And we're going to cut our 6 into fifths. Now when we look at them, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we know our denominator is going to be 30. And we have 2 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's going to be 12 30ths plus, we know we're going to have the same common denominator. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 30ths, which gives us 17 30ths. Now 17 is a prime number, which means the number only has a factor of 1 in itself. Okay, so unless 17 doubles to 30, then we know that's in simplified form. All right, now we're going to be adding some fractions that are going to end up with a fraction greater than 1. So let's go ahead and start off. Get my pen back. Now we have 3/4 plus 1/3. Now we're going to do the same exact modeling we've been doing so far, as we're going to draw 2 models. This is my 3/4. This is my 1/3. I'm going to split this one into quarters, shading in 3 out of the 4 this time. And over here, I'm going to split vertically or horizontally thirds, and it's 1/3. Now I'm going to go back to the 3/4, and I'm going to multiply it by 3 by splitting it into thirds. My thirds, I'm going to multiply it by 4 by splitting it into fourths. So now we can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9 12ths here. Plus, over here we have 4 12ths. And that gives us 13 12ths. Well, 13 12ths is equal to 12 12ths plus 1 12th. We know 12 over 12 is 1 whole, so it's 1 and 1/12. On B, once again, we're going to draw ourselves a 3/4 model, shading in 3/4 of them. And then we're going to draw a 2/3 model this time, shading in 2 out of 3. Now over my quarters, I'm going to split it into thirds. My thirds, I'm going to split it into fourths. giving us our equivalent fractions, which we can see this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So once again, we have 9 twelfths here, plus here we got 2, 4, 6, 8 twelfths, which gives us 17 twelfths, which we know is equal to 12 twelfths plus 5 twelfths, which is equal to 1 and 5 twelfths. On C, we're going to have a model of thirds, and we're going to shade in 1/3, and we're going to add that to 3/5. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to shade in 3 out of 5 of them. Now over here, we're going to take our thirds and we're going to multiply it by 5 by cutting it up into 5. I have to do another one up here. And our 3/5 we're going to split into thirds. Now we can see here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 15. And over here we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 out of 15. Adding them together, that gives us 14 15ths. Excuse me. Yeah, 14 15ths. So we actually ended up with a fraction less than 1. Be 5, 9, 14. Yeah. Okay. All right. I guess they tried to trick us there because we thought it was supposed to be greater than 1. All right, we're going to draw our last model here. And we have 5, 6, and 1/2. Going to split this into 6, which I like to split them into thirds, then split them into 6. And we're doing 5 out of 6. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The other one we have 1/2, so I'm going to split it this way and go half. Now we're going to take our half and we're going to combine that with our 6. And we're going to take our half and we're going to split that into 6. 3. See what I did? I didn't start off with thirds. That caused me a problem, so I'm going to draw one on the end to give you my 6. Now, my equivalent fractions here, I can see I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 twelfths. Over here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is 6 twelfths, which when I add them together, I get 16 twelfths. When we know 16 twelfths is equal to 12 twelfths plus 4 twelfths, which gives us 1 and 4 twelfths. Our last one is kind of unique because it says 4/3 plus 4/7. So in order to model 4/3, I know it's greater than 1 because the denominator is smaller than my numerator. So I'm going to have to draw 2 rectangles to represent 4/3. And I'm going to start by separating them into thirds. And I know this is 3/3. And one more would be 4/3. So this is representing 4/3. Now I have 4/7. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And we're going to shade in 4 of the 7. There's 3/7 and 4/7. Now over here, we've got to split these into 7s. And we're going to split both models. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to have to add 2 onto it. Okay, disregard this bottom line right here. Okay, now our 4/7, we have to split that into thirds. Now we can see over here we have a 3 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, should be 7s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Forgot to split them into 2. There's 7s. So over here I can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 by 3, so that's going to be 21 21s. And over here I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is 7 21s. When I add those two together, I get 28 21st. Now over here I've got 1, 2, 3 by 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we know the bottom is 21, and we have 3 by 4, so it's going to be 12 21st. When you add them together, we're going to end up with 40 21st. Now 40 21st is equal to 21 21s plus 19 21s, which is equal to 1 and 19 21st. Solve the following problems, draw a picture, and write a number sentence to prove the answers. Simplify your answer if possible. So Sam made 2/3 liter of punch and 3/4 liter of tea to make a party. How many liters of beverage did Sam bring to the party? Okay. So here is our 2/3. We're going to go ahead and model 2/3. And over here we're going to do 3/4. Now we're going to come over, we're going to do our fourths here. And because this is 2/3 and 3/4, so now we're going to combine 2/3 on this model. Now we end up with 3 by 4, so we can tell this is 8/12 if we count the squares. Plus we have a 3 by 3, so this is 9/12. Well, 3 by 4, but a 3 by 3 for the shaded. And we end up with 17/12, which we know is equal to 12/12 plus 5/12. 12/12 mean 1, so it's 1 and 5/12. Now, the number sentence they're talking about, if I took 2/3 and I'm going to multiply that by 4 over 4, so that's what we multiply by, we get 8/12. And you can see that is what we got here. Now 3/4, and we split that up by thirds, and we end up with 9/12. And that's what we end up down here. Mr. Sanosky used 5/8 of a tank of gas on a trip to visit relatives on the weekend, another 1/2 tank commuting to work the next week. He then took another weekend trip and used a 1/4 tank of gas. How many tanks of gas did Mr. Quasi use altogether? So I can see I have to add all these together. So I'm going to start off by modeling first my 5/8. And I'm going to shade in 5 of them. And it says he used 5/8 tank of gas on a trip to visit relatives for the weekend, another 1/2 tank of gas. So now I have to add a 1/2 tank with it. So this is 5/8 and 1/2. Now I'm going to add these two. Now it also says that there was a 1/4 tank of gas. So there's 3 fractions I have to add here. Now nothing says I have to add all of them at the same time. So I'm going to add ones that are really easy to add together first. So I'm going to do 1/2 and 1/4. Because if I change this into quarters and split this one into half, now I have 4 eighths, and I also have 2 eighths. Now I have 6 eighths for those two. Now if you notice, my third fraction was 5 eighths, so I've already got the same common denominator, so I end up with 11 eighths. So 11 eighths, which is equal to 8 eighths plus 3 eighths. Now it says, how many tanks of gas did he use altogether? Well, he used 1 and a 3/8 tank of gas. Tanks.